जय राधा माधव कुंज विहार गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
राधा कुंज विहार गोपी जन
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदानंदन
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा
कुंज विहारी जय वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम राम राम
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम राम
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय हो राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधा। जय हो राधा गोवर्धन धारी राधा गोवर्धन धारी राधे। जय हो राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे। जय हो राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे। जय हो राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे। जय हो राधे जय हो राधे जय हो राधे जय हो श्री राधे। जय हो कृष्णा जय हो कृष्णा जय हो कृष्णा जय हो श्री कृष्णा। जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी नयन पथगामी धावतु मे। जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी नयन पथगामी भावतु मे। निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो गौर हरि। जय सचिनंदन जय सचिनंदन जय सचिनंदन गौर हरि। पतित पावाना पतित पावाना पतित पावाना गौर हरि। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव। नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल। जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। So we'll do the prayers and then start the class. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलम् श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiti Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Namah Pankajanaಭಾಯ Namah Pankajamaline Namah Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajanggrahe Namo Mahapadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namah Namo Brahmanyaya Devaya Gau Brahmana Hitaya Govindaya Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurav Vishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Share my screen.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, Dandavat Pranam to each one of you. Thank you for joining the class. So, let me. So, today we are going to discuss from Canto 5, Chapter 7, the activities of King Bharat or Bharat Maharaj. And so this, we are in Canto 5, which is the Canto 5 is called the creative impetus. So we started with, I mean, in Canto 4, we finished the activities of one of the sons of Swayambhu Manu, Uttanapad. Then we started looking at activities of Maharaj Priyavrata, then his son, and then finally we saw the appearance of Rishabh Dev, right? And then we looked at the characteristics of Rishabh Dev, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, and because Maharaj Nabi actually wanted a son like the supreme personality of Godhead, and the supreme personality of Godhead appeared as a son to him. And then we look at the teachings of Lord Rishabdev. So one of the important teachings of Lord Rishabdev is that we should not waste a human life for sense enjoyment, right? The human life is specially meant for retrieval of our relationship with the Supreme Lord, right? And that is the one of the important or the main teachings of Rishabdev. And that's what is the description of the Bhagavad Dharma as well. Then we looked at the activities of Lord Rishabdev. Rishabdev had 100 sons, and Rishabdev actually crowned his eldest son, King Bharata, as the emperor, and asked his other brothers to follow Maharaj Bharat, right? So in this chapter, which is chapter 7 of this canto, the activities of Maharaj Bharat are described, right? King Bharat are described, and our country, Bharatvarsha, right? It's named after Bharat Maharaj, right? And so the brief outline of this chapter is actually like this. Now, one of the most important things to understand, like the activity, what do we learn from the activities of Bharat Maharaj is actually this, right? That he was a victim of affection, right? Bharat Maharaj is actually a Mahabhagavata, but due to his affection to an insignificant deer, he fell down from it, and then he had to take another birth, and then in that birth he perfected his life as Jada Bharata, right? So we can look at the teachings of the teaching we get from this pastime of Maharaj Bharat is that a small deviation or small deviation on the path of bhakti, how can it affect us, right? As sadhakas, and as we live in Kali Yuga, right? This place, Kali Yuga, it's a place of mass distraction, right? So for us, we have so many distractions in our life, and Bharat Maharaj, who was a Mahabhagavata and who was living in a forest, secluded, and he got affected by a small deer, and that led to his fall down, and so that is a very, very important lesson which we need to derive from the story of Bharat Maharaj, right? So we are looking at the 7th chapter, and so this actually the story of Bharat Maharaj is described in 3 chapters: chapter 7, chapter 8, and chapter 9. So we are today discussing this chapter 7, which is the activities of King Bharata, and let's go there and see what are the. So there are only 14 verses in this chapter. So this, you can look at this chapter as divided into, I mean, this is are all notes from Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, so I'm just presenting them. But this helps us to give a brief picture of what is there in this chapter. So Bharat Maharaj's character and his activities as a king are described in verses 1 to 8. Then Bharat Maharaj actually enjoyed the material world for 1 crore years, and then he retired. And so his retirement and description of the Pulha ashrama. Pula Rishi is one of the 7 rishis, and he has a ashrama. So that's why it is called Pula ashrama. Uh, and we'll take a look at that as well. Then we'll look at the activities of Bharat Maharaj in Pulha ashrama, then experience of Bharat Maharaj, features of Bharat Maharaj are described, and then prayers of Bharat Maharaj are there in these 14 verses. So for characters and activities, like what we get is like he's learned, he's very learned, he's experienced, he's affectionate, he always engaged his citizens in Varnashrama Dharma. He performed a lot of sacrifices. So we'll take a look at that also, what kind of sacrifices he performed, and what was the result of those sacrifices. He was definitely self-realized, and then, as I mentioned, that he enjoyed the opulences for 1,000 into 10,000 years, which is a rough 1 crore years. And these are all the things which are mentioned. Then so let's go to the chapter, and we will go to the each translation and the purport. So the purports are there are few very important purports in this chapter, and we will read the purport fully, so that since the chapter is also is very small, and the purports are pretty descriptive and give good lessons, we'll read the whole purport of Prabhupada in this. So let's start with that. I would want you guys to volunteer and read the purport, please, Prabhujis and Matajis. You can take turns and read. I will also read in between. So let's start with this. Text 1. Anybody would want to read the translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhupada. Can I read it?
Please, yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Sukdev Goswami continued speaking to Maharaj Parikshit. My dear king, Bharat Maharaj was a topmost devotee. Following the orders of his father, who had already decided to install him on the throne, he began to rule the earth accordingly. When Bharat Maharaja ruled the entire globe, he followed the orders of his father and married Panchajani, the daughter of Vishwarupa. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So, as mentioned here, important point, Bharat Maharaj was a topmost devotee, right? This is the most important point, that he was a topmost devotee. See, Prabhuji and Mataji, one important thing like which shapes our life, there are three things, right? Our past karma, right? Our the culture which our parents give, that's the second thing, right? Our parents. And the third is our current karma, right? Our current activities. So for Bharat Maharaj, you can see that like not much is mentioned about his past karma, but his current culture and birth, right? He's directly the son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So he has that culture and that lineage, and that's why we can see that he is a topmost devotee, right? And his current activities are also such that it leads him to become a devotee. So these three factors are very important in anyone's life, right? Our past karma, what we have done. So whatever is the dominant of these three, right? That's what shapes our life and activities, right? If shapes our current life basically. So if your past karma are the ones which are very predominant, then that's what we get the results of those in our current life. If the culture and our parents, the culture which they give us, if that becomes predominant, that shapes our life. And then whatever we do in our current life, right, that also shapes our life. So these are the three dominant factors according to the Shastra that shape our life. And for Bharat Maharaj, he was the son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so that was one of the factors that he is a topmost devotee. Also, we'll look at his current activities, which help him to become a devotee of the Lord. Moving on. So 5.7.2, anybody? So I'll read the translation. Just as the false ego creates the subtle sense objects, Maharaj Bharata created 5 sons in the womb of Panchajani, his wife. These sons were named Sumati, Rashtra Bharta, Sudarshana, Avarna, and Dhumraketu. So Bharat Maharaj had 5 sons, right? So the names of those sons are mentioned here. Let's move on. 5.7.3. Okay, I'll read. Translation. Formerly, this planet was known as Ajnanabha Varsha. But since Maharaj Bharata reign, it has become known as Bharat Varsha. This planet was formerly known as Ajanabha on the basis of the rule of King Nabhi. Because of the reign of King Nabhi. After Bharat Maharaj ruled the planet, it became celebrated as Bharat Varsha. And this name is still continuing till date. Now, if you look at it, the entire planet was known as Bharat Varsha, not just this particular tract of land, but what this planet, according to Prabhupada, the entire planet was known as Bharat Varsha. Now, but now it has I would say it has I mean the name has been confined to only India, which is now known as Bharat Varsha, right? But in medieval or in earlier times, the entire planet was known as Bharat Varsha because of the reign of King Bharata, and he was the emperor of the whole world, not just a particular part of the tract of land. Okay. So 5.7.4. Anybody would want to read?
Can I read?
Yes,
Can I-
Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna. 5.7.4 Maharaj Bharata was a very learned and experienced king on this earth. He perfectly ruled the citizens, being himself engaged in his own respective duties. Maharaj Bharata was as affectionate to the citizens as his father and grandfather had been. Keeping them engaged in their occupational duties, he ruled the earth. Krishna.
Did you read the purport as well?
Purport. It is most important that the chief executive rules the citizens by keeping them fully engaged in their respective occupational duties. Some of the citizens were Brahmanas, some were Kshatriyas, and some were Vaishyas, and some Sudras. It is the duty of the government to see that citizens act according to these material divisions for their spiritual advancement. No one should remain unemployed or unoccupied in any way. One must work as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra on the material path. And on the spiritual path, everyone should act as a Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi. Although formerly the government was a monarchy, all the kings were very affectionate towards citizens, and they strictly kept them engaged in their respective duties. Therefore, society was very smoothly conducted.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So we can see that Maharaj Bharata was very learned and experienced king. So the main duty of the king was that he has to ensure that every citizen is occupied, right? No one is unemployed or unoccupied, right? And how are they employed? They are employed according to their varna, right? They must work as either a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. So you can see the fine balance of the way society functioned earlier, right? And Lilananda Prabhuji always says, and we have heard it in the SSR, right, that this was the perfect system, right? This is the perfect system. This is how the society should be structured. Now, in today's day and time, we say that everybody is equal and so on and so forth, but that does not work out. It is important that there are divisions and everybody should follow those divisions and work according to their own nature, right? And that's what makes everybody happy, and also that results in the smooth functioning of the society. But nowadays we can see since this varnashrama system has been destroyed, we can see all the ill effects of it. People are unemployed, or people are not working according to their varna. That's what leads to so many problems in the society, and which can be clearly seen in the modern world. And there are no solutions to this. Nobody proposes solutions. We can all see the problems, but nobody has solutions for them. But this varnashrama system is the solution actually. And we all know that Prabhupada wanted to establish the varnashrama dharma, but and we also see that some of the sannyasis in our movement are trying to establish this varnashrama dharma. So this varnashrama dharma is very, very important, and that's what leads to peace, and since then, and when there is peace in the society, people can think of spiritual progress, right? Since today there is no peace in the society, there are so many problems in the society, people are also not interested in making spiritual progress because they are fighting daily for their bread, and they are not peaceful, right? So that's what, and hence they cannot think of spiritual advancement. But earlier, since there was peace in the society, people engaged themselves in spiritual progress, and accordingly they used to behave as a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, or sannyasi, right? Brahmacharya from till 25, and then grihastha ashram, then vanapastha, and finally people used to take sannyas and go away, right? And the Matajis used to be always under the protection of first their father, then the husband, and then finally the son, right? So and that was the perfect system. It was not meant for that it was not that this system was there such that to control the Matajis. No, it was there because the Matajis are the most important part of the family, right? So they need to be protected. Unless the woman of the house is happy, the house cannot be happy, right? So the system was such that the woman had the central place in the house and the society, and that's why they were always protected and made sure that they all their needs were met, and they are happy. And once they were happy, they made sure that the whole house and the family is happy. So they were the fulcrum around which everything rotated, and that's what the system was earlier in the Vedic society. But now that has been destroyed, unfortunately. The so many controversial, I mean, not controversial, but so many modern concepts like feminism and all these have come up, where it is now thought that if the woman is in the house, she is being exploited, she's not allowed to grow. But that was not how it was earlier. And as I said, right, they were the fulcrum in the house and around which everything rotated. So this Vedic system of Varnashrama, Varnashrama dharma has been completely destroyed now, and we can see the ill effects of that in the society. And Bharat Maharaj was a very learned and experienced king, and he ensured that every citizen of his kingdom followed the Varnashrama dharma, and that led to peace and prosperity, and also that allowed the citizens to grow spiritually and take up the spiritual path. Right? Let's move on. 5.7.5. Hare Krishna Mataji. You want to read? Please go ahead.
Okay. Next one. With great faith, King Bharata performed various kinds of sacrifice. He performed the sacrifices. Hello?
Yeah, Mataji, go ahead.
Yes. King Bharata
sorry, Mataji.
Kinds of sacrifice. He performed the sacrifices known as Agnihotra, Darsha, Purnamasa. Yeah. Chaturmasya. Are you able to hear?
Yes, Mataji.
Hello?
Go ahead. Yeah, I am able to hear now. It's clear now.
Hello?
Go ahead. Hello. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hello?
Hare Krishna Mataji, are you able to hear me?
You can't hear us? You can't hear?
I can hear you,
Hello?
Mataji.
Hello? Sorry. I think someone else.
Prabhuji, are you able to hear me?
Are you hearing me? Yeah, I can hear you. But okay. With great faith, King Bharata performed various kinds of sacrifice.
We lost.
Yeah, I think I will read this, no problem. With great faith. Yeah, go ahead, Prabhuji. Please go ahead.
Sorry. With the great faith, King Bharata performed various kinds of sacrifice. He performed the sacrifice known as Agnihotra, Darsha, Purnamasa, Chaturmasa, Pashu Yagna, wherein a horse is sacrificed, and Soma Yagna, wherein a kind of beverage is offered. Sometimes these sacrifices were performed completely and sometimes partially. In any case, in all the sacrifices, the regulations of Chaturhotra were strictly followed. In this way, Bharat Maharaj worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Animals like horses and cows were offered in sacrifices to test the proper execution of sacrifice. Otherwise, there was no purpose in killing the animals. Actually, the animals were offered in the sacrifice fire to get a regenerated life. Generally, an old animal was sacrificed in the fire, and it would come out again in a youthful body. Some of the rituals, however, did not require animal sacrifice. In the present age, animal sacrifice are forbidden. As stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ashwamedam Gavalambam Salyasam Pala Paitrikam Devarena Sutotpatim Kalau Pancha Vivarjayet. In the age of Kali, 5 acts are forbidden. The offering of the horse in a sacrifice, the offering of a cow in a sacrifice, the acceptance of order of sannyasis, the offering of oblations of flesh to the forefathers, and a man begetting children in his brother's wife. CC Adi Leela 17.164. Such sacrifices are impossible in the age due to the scarcity of expert brahmanas or Ritvija who are able to take a responsibility. In the absence of this, the Sankirtana Yajna is recommended. Yajna Sankirtana prior Yajalti Ti Subhedha. Bhagavad Gita 11.5 Bhagavad 11.5.32. After all, sacrifices are executed to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yajnartha Karma. Such activities should be carried out for the Supreme Lord's pleasure. In this age of Kali, the Supreme Lord in his incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should be worshipped with his associates by performance of Sankirtana Yajna, the congregational chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. This process is accepted by the intelligent man. Yaglai Sankirtana prior Yajanti He Sumedasa. The word Sumedasa refers to intelligent men who possess very good brain substance. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. So now we can see that King Bharat or Bharat Maharaj is performing various kinds of sacrifices. Now there are many kinds of sacrifices mentioned here: Agni Hotra, Darsha, Purnamasa, Chaturmasya, and Pashu Yagna, right? And Soma Yagna. And he followed a system which is known as Chaturhotra. Chaturhotra means 4 priests. There are 4 priests who are doing the sacrifices. Chatur means 4 and Hotra means the priest, right? So the 4 priests were the main and they used to conduct the sacrifices. So one priest used to be the in charge who used to guide everybody. Then one priest is the one who is offering the oblations. One priest is the one who is offering the Vedic hymns, and another one is getting the samagri and all that. So that is how it was like Chaturhotra. So this was strictly followed, and so the 4 priests used to conduct this yagna, and that's what is called as Chaturhotra. Then at those times, I mean, we are talking about Satyuga, right? This is all happening in Satyuga. So in Satyuga, animal sacrifices were done, and it was done to basically check if the yagna was properly performed, right? Because the animal would get a new body, and then it could make further progress towards spiritual path, right? Otherwise, there was, as Prabhupada mentioned, there is no need for doing animal sacrifices, and then this is now fully condemned in Kali Yuga. So we should not be doing any animal sacrifices in Kali Yuga, because there are no brahmanas, there are no proper brahmanas who can utter the mantra properly such that the animal will get a new body, right? So that's why it is all prohibited in Kali Yuga. And what is the Yuga Dharma for Kali Yuga is the Sankirtana Yagna. And this shloka, let me open this, this gives the so this shloka gives the identity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Krishna Varnam, right? So this shloka in Bhagavatam 11.5.32, if you read this translation, in the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. So this shloka gives us the identity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? He introduced the Sankirtana Yajna, and he's coming with his associates, that and although his complexion is not black, he is Krishna himself. So Bhagavatam is directly saying that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, right? And that's the shloka Prabhupada is quoting here to say that in Kali Yuga we must do only Sankirtana. That is the authorized process, and that is how we can attain Godhead, right? And there is one more thing, that these 5 things which are forbidden. Another shloka like that. Ashwamedham. Ashwamedham means horse sacrifice. Gavala means sacrificing the cows. Gavala. Sannyasam means taking sannyas. And Pala Paitrakam Devarena Sutapitam. So offering oblations of flesh to the forefathers. This is what it means. And then having children from a brother's wife, that is Sutopatim, Devarena Sutopatim, that is also prohibited. So all these things are prohibited in Kali Yuga and should not be done, because this age is the age of darkness, and all these activities are forbidden. So that's what but we can see Bharat Maharaj was expert at performing sacrifices. And now the question might come, right? This is a very important point, right? That Bharat Maharaj is a devotee of the Lord, right? He's a devotee of the Lord, but we can see that he's performing all these sacrifices are known as karmakandi sacrifices, right? Whatever he's doing is all karmakanda, right? So how come a devotee of the Lord is performing all these sacrifices? Now, the point which is mentioned here is that Bharat Maharaj actually worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead by doing these sacrifices. Now, again, this is little bewildering, because these are all karmakandi sacrifices. And how is Bharat Maharaj worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead by doing these sacrifices? So we'll go further and see how that is possible. How is it that even by doing karmakandi sacrifices, he's worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Okay. Anybody would want to read the translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'll read.
Yeah.
Translation. After performing the preliminaries of various sacrifices, Maharaj Bharata offered the results in the name of the religion to Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. In other words, he performed all the yajnas for the satisfaction of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna. Maharaj Bharata thought that since the demigods were different parts of Vasudeva's body, he controls those who are explained in the Vedic mantras. By thinking in this way, Maharaj Bharata was freed from all material contamination, such as attachment, lust, and greed. When the priests were about to offer the sacrificial ingredients into the fire, Maharaj Bharata expertly understood how the offerings made to different demigods was simply an offering to the different limbs of the Lord. For instance, Indra is the arm of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Surya, the sun, is his eyes. Thus, Maharaj Bharata considered that the oblations offered to different demigods were actually offered unto the different limbs of Lord Vasudeva. Purport.
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead says that as long as one does not develop the pure devotional service of Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing and chanting, one must carry out these prescribed duties. Since Bharat Maharaj was a great devotee, one may ask why he performed so many sacrifices that are actually meant for karmis. The fact is that he was simply following the orders of Vasudeva. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. 18.66. Whatever we do, we should constantly remember Vasudeva. People are generally addicted to offering obeisances to various demigods, but Bharat Maharaj simply wanted to please Lord Vasudeva. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwara 5.29. A yagna may be carried out to satisfy a particular demigod, but when the yagna is offered to the yagna Purusha, Narayana, the demigod is satisfied. The demigods are satisfied. The purpose of performing different yagnas is to satisfy the Supreme Lord. One may perform them in the name of different demigods or directly. If we directly offer oblations to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the demigods are automatically satisfied. If we water the root of the tree, the branches, twigs, fruits, flowers are automatically satisfied. When one offers sacrifices to different demigods, one should remember that the demigods are simply parts of the body of the Supreme. If we worship the hands of person, we intend to satisfy the person himself. If we massage a person's leg, we do not really serve the legs, but the person who possesses the legs. All demigods are parts or different parts of the Lord, and we offer service to them. We actually serve Lord himself. Demigod worship is mentioned in Bharata Samhita, in Brahma Samhita, but actually the shlokas advocate worship of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda. For instance, worship of goddess Durga is mentioned in this way in Brahma Samhita 5.44. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chaye Vayasya Bhuvanani Vivarti Durga Ichhanurupa Abhiyasya Cha Chesta Se Chesta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Following the orders of Sri Krishna, the goddess Durga creates, maintains, and annihilates. Sri Krishna also confirms this statement in Bhagavad Gita. Maya dakshena prakritihi suyate sa characharam. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. 9.10. We should worship. Should I?
Yeah, you can continue, Mataji, or if somebody else want to read, we can give a chance.
I'll read, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
We should worship the demigods in that spirit because the goddess Durga satisfies Krishna. We should therefore offer respect to goddess Durga. Because Lord Shiva is nothing but Krishna's functional body, we should therefore offer respects to Lord Shiva. Similarly, we should offer respects to Brahma, Agni, and Surya. There are many offerings to different demigods, and one should always remember that these offerings are usually meant to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bharata Maharaj did not aspire to receive some benedictions from demigods. His aim was to please the Supreme Lord. In Mahabharata, among the 1,000 names of Vishnu, it is said Yagna Bhu, Yagna Krit, Yagna. The enjoyer of Yagna, the performer of Yagna, and Yagna itself are Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the performer of everything, but out of ignorance, the living entities think that he is an actor. As long as we think we are the actors, we bring about karma bandhana, bondage to activities. If we act for yagna, for Krishna, there is no karma bandhana. Yajnarthat, karmano anyartha loka, yam karma bandhanaha. Work is done in sacrifice for Vishnu, has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. 3.9. Following the instructions of Bharata Maharaja, we should act not for our personal satisfaction, but for the satisfaction of Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita 17.28. Ashraddhayahu yutyam dattam tapasa taptam kritam chayat asaditye uchyate partha nacha tat pretyana iho. Sacrifices, austerities, and charities performed without faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead are non-permanent. Regardless of whatever rituals are performed, they are called asat, non-permanent. They are therefore useless both in this life and next. Kings like Maharaj Ambarisha and many others, Rajarshis, who were pure devotees of the Lord, simply passed their time in the service of the Supreme Personality, Supreme Lord. When a pure devotee executes some service through the agency of another person, he should not be criticized for his activities are meant for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. A devotee may have a priest performed some karma kanda, and the priest may not be pure Vaishnava, but because the devotee wants to please the Supreme Lord, he should not be criticized. The word apurva is very significant. The resultant actions of karma are called apurva. When we act piously or impiously, immediate results do not ensue. We therefore wait for the results, which are called apurva. The results are manifest in the future. Even the samarthas
Samarthas.
accept this apurva. Pure devotees simply act for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the results of their activities are spiritual or permanent. They are not like those of the karmis, which are non-permanent. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.23. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavashistha chetasaha yajna yacharat karma samagram praviliyate. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. A devotee is always free from material contamination. He is fully situated in knowledge, and therefore his sacrifices are intended for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. Sorry, Prabhuji, the mistakes. Sorry.
No, Mataji. Thank you so much. So thank you so much. So this purport is a very, very important purport for us to understand some of the concepts, right, that we always are confused with, right, or people are generally confused. That when I say we, I mean generally when we think about all these things, right? So we had that question, right, that how come Bharat Maharaj, by performing sacrifices which are apparently looking like karma kanda sacrifices, right, how is he attaining bhakti through that, right? So the answer lies in here, that how he his consciousness while performing those activities. We can see that what was his consciousness when he was doing those sacrifices, right? What did he think? First, he did not want any benefit for himself, right? So Maharaj Bharata offered the results in the name of religion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he did not want any benefit, but he only wanted to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? He performed the sacrifices for satisfaction of Lord Vasudeva, right? That's the first thing which he did. And another thing which Bharat Maharaj had, or his consciousness was that, though in the sacrifices, right, we offer various things to different demigods like Chandra, Surya, and other demigods, Indra. What Bharat Maharaj was thinking is those are all different parts of the body of the Supreme Lord, right? And as mentioned here, right, when you are serving a body part, it is not that you're serving the body part, you're serving the person, right? Like, for example, if you're massaging a person's feet, you are not serving the feet, you're serving the person, right? So Bharat Maharaj similarly had that consciousness that the demigods or the devtas are the different parts of the body of the Supreme Lord, right? And if he is serving those devtas, is actually serving the Supreme Lord, right? So that's what his thought process was, right? And that's why, by thinking in this way, Bharat Maharaj was freed from all material contaminations such as attachment, lust, and greed. And also see the another important point which Bharat Maharaj had or thought about or the consciousness of Bharat Maharaj was that I am not the doer. I am not doing this sacrifices. Basically, for example, he thought the priests are doing it, but then the priests are also controlled by the Supreme Lord. So it is actually, he's saying that all these sacrifices are done by the Supreme Lord himself. And you can see that Prabhupada mentions that that the Supreme Lord is known as Yajna Bhug, Yajna Krid, and Yajna himself, right? What is yajna bhuk means? He is the enjoyer of the yajna. Yajna krit. Krit means doer, right? So he is the performer of the yajna, and he is the yajna. Yajna himself is the Supreme Lord, right? So that's why that was the consciousness of Bharat Maharaj, right? When he was performing these sacrifices, and hence, even though these sacrifices seem to be on the material platform, they were not actually material, and they led to the Supreme Lord getting satisfied. And when the Supreme Lord got satisfied, that's where he was freed from all material contamination such as attachment, lust, and greed. And this purport is a very, very instructive purport, actually, that very nicely summarizes the understanding of demigod worship, doing karma kanda activities, and what should be our consciousness while doing those activities. And also, the purport starts with this, right? The Supreme Personality of Godhead says, right? So this comes in Uddhav Gita, that in the 11th canto, that as long as one does not develop the pure devotional service of Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting, one must carry out his prescribed duties. So we are bound to carry out our prescribed duties. We are not on this platform where we have developed this complete surrender to these activities of pure devotional service. So for us, it is important that we carry out the prescribed duties. And what should be our consciousness while carrying out the prescribed duties is what is mentioned in this translation also, right? And what was consciousness of Bharat Maharaj again is that he's simply following the orders of the Lord, right? While doing all this, he's just simply following the orders of the Lord. And he's thinking that the Lord is the enjoyer, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, right? And again, the thought process was that he is offering, the yajna is being done for the yajna Purusha, Narayana. And once the yajna is done for the yajna Purusha, all the demigods will also be satisfied. So that's the reason why Bharat Maharaj, though it seems like he's doing material sacrifices, he could easily satisfy the Supreme Lord with it. And mind you, he did lot of these sacrifices, right? It is mentioned in the last translation, the different types of sacrifices which he was doing, right? Chaturmasya, and then Agnihotra. Then he was also offering sacrifices of animals. So he was doing all those material sacrifices, but still he could attain the favor of the Supreme Lord and attain bhakti to him because of his consciousness while doing the activity. So that's the important thing, that any activity which we do, what is our consciousness behind that, right? If our consciousness is for any activity is to actually please the Supreme Lord, that activity will bring in satisfaction, and also it will develop that attachment to the Supreme Lord for us. Similar, and the same activity, if it is done with the consciousness of enjoying the results of that activity, then that leads to karma bandhana, as mentioned here, right? So that that concept of how should I mean, even though we are grahasthas and we have to earn money, maintain a family, but if our consciousness is right, even those activities will help us to take us closer to the Supreme Lord, right? So that's the important takeaway from this purport. And this purport is I mean, when I read this, it is so very clear, right? Why we should be doing. So that's why we say that we should continue to maintain our family traditions, right? So it's our duty that whatever family traditions which we have, right? We have our Kul Devta, we have our Gram Devta. So it is important that we do worship them and do offer sacrifices to them. But our consciousness should be like what Bharat Maharaj had when he performed these sacrifices. So that's the point here. Let's move on. Five 5.7.7. Anybody would want to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Can I read,
Can you
Prabhuji?
hear me?
Yes, Mataji, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. In this translation, in this way, being purified by ritualistic sacrifices, the heart of Maharaja Bharata was completely uncontaminated. His devotional service unto Vasudeva Lord Krishna, increased day after day. Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, is the original personality of Godhead manifest as the super soul, Paramatma, as well as the impersonal Brahman. Yogis meditate upon the localized Paramatma situated in the heart. Jnanis worship the impersonal Brahman as the supreme absolute truth. And devotees worship Vasudeva, the supreme personality of Godhead, whose transcendental body is described in the Shastras. His body is decorated with the Srivatsa, the Kaustuba jewel, and a flower goblet, and his hands hold a conch shell, disc club, and the lotus flower. Devotees like Narada always think of him within their hearts. Purport. Lord Vasudeva or Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is manifest within the hearts of yogis in his Paramatma feature, and he is worshipped as impersonal Brahman by Jnanis. The Paramatma feature is described in the Shastras as having 4 hands, holding disc or ankshan, lotus flower, and club, as confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.8. Kechitsva dehantar hridaya avakashe pradesha matram purusham vasantam chaturbhujam kanja rathanga shankagada dharam dharanaya smaranti. Paramatma is situated in the hearts of all living beings. He has 4 hands, which hold 4 symbolic weapons. All devotees who think of the Paramatma within the heart worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the temple deity. They also understand the impersonal features of the Lord and his bodily rays. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So as we can see, right, in this way, being purified by ritualistic sacrifice, the heart of Bharat Maharaj was completely uncontaminated. His devotional service unto Lord Vasudeva increased day after day, right? Hare Krishna, Mataji. You can hear me, Mataji, or you are not able to hear me?
Prabhuji, looks like her connection is bad. I think there's a lot of lag and everything. So
Yeah. Okay. I'll
you can continue, Prabhu.
Yeah, I'll continue. So we can see that Bharat Maharaj was doing these sacrifices, and then slowly and steadily his devotional service, he was completely uncontaminated, right? And his devotional service unto Lord Vasudeva increased day after day. He was actually enjoying those doing those sacrifices because it brought satisfaction to him. Not enjoying in terms of material desires getting fulfilled, but in terms of it bringing satisfaction to him, right? And he could feel that Paramatma aspect. He could meditate on that, and he could actually start visualizing that super soul within him, and that's what is mentioned here. And so as I said, right, our Shastras time again and again and again, they describe how the Supreme Lord looks, right? Again here it is mentioned that how he's looking, right? What he's wearing, what is he holding, right? So we can see that this point, as I said, I mean, in any class, if you look in Bhagavatam, we will find a description of how the Supreme Personality of Godhead looks, right? And this is done to hammer out that point that he's a person, right? Not just he's not someone who has no form, right? That's why we can see that Bhagavatam again and again and again describes the form of the Supreme Lord, right? Okay. Let's move on. 5.7.8. Praveen Prabhu, can you read now?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, I can read. 1 second.
Yeah.
Translation, Prabhu?
Yeah, translation.
Translation. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Destiny fixed the time for Maharaj Bharat's enjoyment of material opulence at 1,000 times 10,000 years. When that period was finished, he retired from family life and divided the wealth he had received from his forefathers among his sons. He left his paternal home, the reservoir of all opulences, and started for Pulahashrama, which is situated in Haridwar. The Saligram Shilas are obtained there. Purport. According to the law of Daya Bhak, when one inherits an estate, he must hand it over to next generation. Bharat Maharaj did this properly. First, he enjoyed his paternal property for 1,000 times 10,000 years. At the time of retirement, he divided the property among his sons and left for Pulashrama.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So Pulha Rishi is one of the
Thank you.
7 rishis, right? And he has an ashrama in Haridwar. Actually, the river Ganga, when it flows through Haridwar, you can see there are many branches of that river actually. And all these 7 rishis had an ashram in Haridwar in olden times. And the Ganges used to flow through the ashram of each of those rishis and purify those ashramas, right? And Pula Rishi was one of the rishis and he had an ashram there. Now this, it is mentioned Haridwar here, but we will see that it refers to the Gandaki river actually. It is on the banks of the Gandaki river. So don't get confused with that. So Pula Rishi used to stay in Haridwar and then he went near the banks of river Gandaki. So that's why it is mentioned here that started for Pulashrama, which is situated in Haridwar, right? But Bharat Maharaj actually went to the banks of river Gandaki. Okay. Let's move on. 5.7.9. Translation. At Pula Ashrama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, out of his transcendental affection for his devotees, becomes visible to his devotees, satisfying his devotees' desire. Purport. The Lord always exists in different transcendental forms, as stated in Brahma Samhita 5.39. Ramadi Murtisu Kala Niyamena Tishtan Nana Avataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Sambhavat Parama Pumamayo Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajami. The Lord is situated as himself, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and is accompanied by his expansions like Lord Rama, Baladeva, Sankarshana, Narayana, Mahavishnu, and so forth. The devotees worship all these forms according to their liking, and the Lord, out of his affection presents himself as Archa Vigraha. He sometimes presents himself personally before the devotee out of reciprocation or affection. A devotee is always fully surrendered to the loving service of the Lord, and the Lord is visible to the devotees according to the devotee's desire. He may be present in the form of Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, Lord Narsingadev, and so on. Such is the exchange of love between the Lord and his devotees. Hare Krishna. So this statement that this at Pula Ashrama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, he's visible, directly visible. So Bharat Maharaj could see the Supreme Lord. That's what is mentioned here. And we can see that according to what, I mean, the devotees actually control the Supreme Lord, right? That's what is mentioned here. That the devotees always surrendered to the service of the Lord, and the Lord, in order to reciprocate with them, he takes up a form which they would want to see, right? For example, Bhishma Dev, right? He was waiting for the Supreme Lord to come, and the Lord did come, because for the affection, in order to reciprocate with Bhishma Dev, the Supreme Lord came on the came to the place in Kurukshetra where Bhishma Dev was lying on the bed of arrows, right? So and Bhishma Dev wanted to see the Supreme Lord before he left his body. So the Lord, in order to reciprocate with the devotees, always takes a form which the devotees like, right? For example, even Narsingadev, right? Prahlad Maharaj wanted Narsingadev to come from the pillar. So Narsingadev came from the pillar, right? And similarly, the gopis, they want to love the Supreme Lord, and the gopis make the Supreme Lord to dance, right? So the Lord kind of becomes subservient to his devotees, and the devotees control the Lord. And this is a loving reciprocation which happens between the devotee and the Supreme Lord. And that's what Prabhupada is mentioning here in the purport. let's move on. So I mean, the Bharat Maharaj has gone to Pula Ashrama, and there he is actually enjoying this. He's seeing the Supreme Lord, and he's enjoying that atmosphere there at Pula Ashrama. Let's see what he does at Pula Ashrama now. His activities there. 5.7.10. Anybody would want to read?
Can I read, Prabhuji? Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Translation, right, Prabhuji?
Yes, translation and purport, both.
Yeah. In Pulaha Ashrama, is the Gandaki river, which is the best of all rivers. The Salagrama Shila, the marble pebbles, purify all those places. On each and every marble pebble, up and down, circles like navels are visible. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Salagrama Shila refers to pebbles that appear like stones, which circles mark up and down. These are available in the river known as Gandaki Nadi. Wherever the water of this river flow, the place becomes immediately sanctified. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, in Pula Ashrama is the Gandaki river, right? Now, this river is in present-day Nepal. Okay, and in this place we find Shalagram Shilas. Now, the speciality of these, I mean, Shalagram Shilas is you can worship them, right? I mean, if you would have seen, we never install Shalagram Shila, right? We don't do Pran Pratishtha for Shalagram Shila. You can take that Shila, somebody gives you a Shila, and you can directly start worshipping the Shila. So that's the potency of Shalagram Shila, right? It's like a direct manifestation of the Supreme Lord, right? The Supreme Lord, I mean, and only the pebbles which we find in this river are treated as Shalagram Shila. It's not that any stone you pick up and that becomes Shalagram Shila. Only the stones or pebbles, I mean, not for better words, I'm saying that, but these Shalagram Shilas are found only in Gandaki river, and we can directly worship them. Somebody gives you a Shila, you can start worshipping them. There is no need of doing any Pran Pratishtha for them. That's the thing. And we can see that in many ISKCON temples, the Shalagram Shilas are worshipped. In fact, devotees also worship the Shalagram Shila. And a very, very sweet pastime, right, which happened with Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He also went to the Gandaki river, and he was taking some water from it. So some of these Shalagram Shilas came in his kamandalu, right? And then he again respectfully put them back into the river. Again, they came back. And so he took those Shalagram Shilas with him to Vrindavan. Gopal Bhatta Goswami was staying in Vrindavan, so he took them to Vrindavan. Now, a famous merchant came at that time, and he offered some jewelry and clothes for the deities. And then Gopal Bhatta Goswami had that intense desire that I should be able to dress them. And then out of those Shalagram Shila appeared Radha Raman, right? And that's the Radha Raman which is still there, and we can take darshan of Radha Raman today. And that deity has manifested from these Shalagram Shilas which are found in Gandaki river. So Bharat Maharaj was staying in an ashram near this holy river, and you can see the atmosphere there, right? That atmosphere is very spiritually charged. And in that atmosphere, a great devotee like Bharat Maharaj was staying, and we can see that little digression which he had led to his downfall. So that's the description which is given here, right? Where he's staying, what he's doing there, and we can see that he was absolutely in solitary. He was living alone, right, in that place, and yet that small digression led to his downfall, right? That will come later. Okay, let's move on. 5.7.11. Anybody would want to read? Okay, I'll read. In the gardens of... Yeah, please continue. Please continue.
Translation. In the gardens of Pulaha Ashrama, Maharaja Bharata lived alone and collected a variety of flowers, twigs, and tulsi leaves. He also collected the water of the Gandaki river, as well as various roots, fruits, and bulbs. With these, he offered food to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, and worshipping him. He remained satisfied. In this way, his heart was completely uncontaminated and he did not have the least desire for material enjoyment. All material desires vanished. In the study position, he felt full satisfaction and was situated in the devotional service. Purport: everyone is searching after peace of mind. This is obtainable only when one is completely freed from the desire for material sense gratification and is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Me Bhaktya Prayachati. Worship of the Lord is not at all expensive. One can offer the Lord a leaf, a flower, a little fruit, and some water. The Supreme Lord accepts these offerings when they are offered with love and devotion. In this way, one can become freed from material desires. As long as one maintains material desires, he cannot be happy. As soon as one engages in the devotional service of Lord, his mind is purified of all material desires. Then one becomes fully satisfied. Savai pumsham paro dharma yatho bhakti radokshaje ahaitwaki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Vasudeve bhagavati bhakti yoga prayojitaha janayati asuvairagyam gnanam chayat ahaitukam. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted in order to completely satisfy the self. By rendering devotional service onto personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Bhagavatam 1.2.6 to 7. These are the instructions given in Srimad Bhagavatam, the supreme Vedic literature. One may not be able to go to Pulaha Ashrama, but wherever one can happily render devotional service to the Lord by adopting the process mentioned above. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you. So now we can see Bharat Maharaj is living alone and he is engaged in the devotional service. Now, the important thing here to understand is, see, when Bharat Maharaj was the emperor of the world, right, he used to worship or he used to offer the Supreme Lord. I mean, we cannot imagine what kind of prasadam he used to offer to the Supreme Lord, right? I mean, Chappan Bhog is nothing, right? He used to offer so many things, very, very opulent prasadam served in golden plates and all that, right? Now, when he no longer had that opulence, he's doing simple, right? He's offering roots, fruits, and all these things to the Supreme Lord. So we can see that by this, I mean, from this example, right? Whatever may be our condition, right? We may have money or we may not have money or whatever may be our condition, right? It is very easy to satisfy the Supreme Lord, right? And if we have money, right? I mean, if we are rich, which means the Supreme Lord is favorable to us, that wealth we must use for the service of the Lord. And if we don't have that, then also it is not that we cannot perform bhakti, right? It is very easy to perform bhakti. And Bharat Maharaj is showing by his example, right? When he was the king, he used to offer very opulent fruits, foodstuffs to the Supreme Lord, perform all that activity with great opulence. And now when he does not have anything, he is simply taking what is available and offering it to the Supreme Lord. And in that way, he was very satisfied, and he was living alone and enjoying that serene atmosphere and performing his devotional service. Right? Let's move on. 5.7.12. Anybody would want to read? Okay, I'll read. That. So yeah, go ahead, Mataji. Go ahead.
Exalted devotee Maharaj Bharata completely in devotional service of the Lord. Naturally, his love for Vasudeva Krishna increased more and more and melted his heart. Consequently, he gradually lost all attachment for regulative duties. The hairs on his body stood on end, and all ecstatic bodily symptoms were manifested. Tears flowed from his eyes so much that he could not see anything. Thus, he constantly meditated on the reddish lotus feet of the Lord. At that time, his heart, which was like a lake, was filled with water of ecstatic love. When his mind was immersed in that lake, he forgot the regulative service to the Lord. Should I continue purport flow? Hare Krishna. Purport. When one is actually
Hare Krishna Mataji, continue Mataji. You can use your phone. Looks like Prabhuji lost his connection.
I'll try
Sorry,
to open.
Mataji.
Ah,
Yeah, sorry,
Prabhuji is back.
I lost connection. Sorry, the power went off and I lost connection. I'll share my screen again.
Sure.
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Not yet. Yes, purport.
Yeah.
When one is actually advanced in ecstatic love for Krishna, a transcendental blissful symptoms are manifest in the body. Those are the symptoms of perfection arising from loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since Bharat Maharaj was constantly engaged in devotional service, all the symptoms of ecstatic love were manifest in his body. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we can see that Bharat Maharaj was slowly getting into that bhava stage, right? That he in fact gradually lost all attachment for regulative duties. Now, I mean, his only duty was he was doing some devotional service only, right? Now we do a arti in certain way, right? We offer first the dhupam, then deepam, and all that. Now Bharat Maharaj, because he became so ecstatic that he did not even, he could not. I mean, he started doing things in different order, in fact, because he was ecstatic, not because he forgot it, but that in ecstasy he could he forgot all of that regulative way of doing things, right? And he was totally in kind of getting into trance, right? And these 8 symptoms which are mentioned here, right? That your voice trembling, hair standing on end, people fainting, right? So all these symptoms which were manifested by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, right? So we could, Bharat Maharaj had those aesthetic symptoms arising because of his extreme devotional service to the Supreme Lord. He was extremely happy and he went into a state of trance, and he would not even be able to perform those regulated activities, and was totally in trance. And so we can see that he was slowly going into the bhava stage. Let's move on. 5.7.13. Anybody would want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Shalom Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Translation. Maharaja Bharata appeared very beautiful. He had a wealth of curly hair on his head, which was wet from bathing 3 times daily. He dressed in a deer skin. He worshipped Lord Narayana, whose body was composed of golden effulgence and who resided within the sun. Maharaja Bharata worshipped Lord Narayana by chanting the hymns given in the Rig Veda, and he recited the following verse as the sun rose. Purport. The predominating deity within the sun is Hiranmaya, Lord Narayana. He is worshipped by the Gayatri mantra Om Bhur Bhuvasva Tatsavitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimahi. He is also worshipped by other hymns mentioned in the Rig Veda. For instance, Deyeya Sada Savitir Mandala Madhya Varti. Within the sun, Lord Narayana is situated and he is a golden hue. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so again we can see what activities of Bharat Maharaj in Pulashtam and how he's looking. So that chapter summary which we saw earlier, right? This is one of the shlokas which mention how he looked, right? And what his activities is doing. So again, he's completely focused on performing devotional service. He used to offer prayers from Rig Veda. He used to offer the prayers that this particular thing, right, which says that the Supreme Lord Sada Savitir. Savitir is sun, right? Mandala, Madhyavarti, right? So he's situated at the center of the sun, right? And he has a golden hue. So that's and he used to worship the Supreme Lord with these mantras. Okay. This is the last shloka, and this is a prayer of Bharat Maharaj, right? Anybody would want to read? Okay, I'll read. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Text 14. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva. He illuminates the entire universe and bestows all benedictions upon his devotees. The Lord has created this universe from his own spiritual potency. According to his desire, the Lord entered this universe as a super soul, and by virtue of his different potencies, he is maintaining all living entities desiring material enjoyment. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is the giver of intelligence. Purport. The predominating deity of the sun is another expansion of Narayana, who is illuminating the entire universe. The Lord enters the hearts of all living entities as the super soul, and he gives them intelligence and fulfills their material desires. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishta. I am sitting in everyone's heart. Bhagavad Gita 15.15. As a super soul, the Lord enters the hearts of all living entities, as stated in Brahma Samhita 5.35. Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastam. He enters the universe and the atom as well. In the Rig Veda, the predominating deity of the sun is worshipped by this mantra. Dhyeya sada savitra mandala madhyavarti Narayana Sarasijasana Sannivistaha. Narayana sits on his lotus flower within the sun. By reciting this mantra, every living entity should take shelter of Narayana just as the sun rises. According to modern scientists, the material world rests on the sun's effulgence. Due to the sunshine, all planets are rotating and the vegetables are growing. We also have information that the moonshine helps vegetables and herbs grow. Actually, Narayana within the sun is maintaining the entire universe. Therefore, Narayana should be worshipped by the Gayatri mantra or the Rig mantra. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Activities of King Bharata. So, sun means that is one name also, right? Supreme Lord's name. Surya Narayana Ki Jai. Haribol.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, anything you want to add? Because this
Gayatri
sloka
mantra.
related to this. Yeah, Gayatri Mantra. Please, can you explain and add something?
Just say one thing, Prabhu. Gayatri mantra, out of 7 Gayatri mantra, first Gayatri mantra, we have this one, right? Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tatsavitarvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiya Yona Prachodayat. That is one of the Gayatri mantra we recited from our Guru Maharaj, second initiation, as part of 7 Gayatri mantras. And we also heard many times and this one Gayatri mantra. So Gayatri mantra is basically what is saying here. Therefore, Narayana should be worshipped as a Gayatri mantra. Narayana is everything actually. Supreme Lord is everything because he is a Sarvayoni Kaunteya and because he is 15.15. Prabhupada specifically pointed out here, I am sitting in everyone's heart. Then whom should we worship then? We have to worship Supreme Lord, Super Soul. He is situated as a Super Soul in every living entity. Right? What is Sarvasya Chaham? Rudhi Sannivishta Matta Smritir Chahanam Apohanam Cha. Vedesha Sarvair Ahameva Vedya Vedantakrit Vedavideva Chaham. Ultimate, who is the compare of the Vedanta? All this Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, everything. Krishna himself. And whom to be known? Krishna himself. And who has given our intelligence? Krishna only given our intelligence. Krishna only given our forgetfulness. Correct? Krishna is only given knowledge, remembrance. So ultimate goal of Gayatri Mantra also, that's where first Gayatri Mantra that ultimately directs to Supreme Lord only. And this is one mantra specifically. This is what beauty of Srila Prabhupada. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You know what he's saying here? Rigveda mantra. Dhyeya sada savitrir mandala madhyavarti Narayana. Specifically see. Rigveda also. Narayana Sarasijana Sannivistaha. Same meaning actually in this BG.1515. You know, Narayana Sarasijana Sannivistaha. Narayana sits on his lotus flower within the sun. The source of sun is Supreme Lord only. So all these planetary systems, who is given? Krishna only given. Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate iti matra bhajante buddha bhava samanita. Prabhupada writes, you know, aham sarvasya. Sarvasya means what sarvasya? Material worlds and spiritual worlds. Krishna is the only proprietor. Krishna is the only enjoyer, and Krishna is the only enjoyership, proprietorship, and maintainer. All the things. So we have to direct our senses to Supreme Lord. And Bharat Maharaj, these are teachings to learn. That's it. So that's what just want to add, Prabhu. Thank you for giving opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for explaining this. Thank you. So Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. So we will stop here, and then the session is open for questions, comments.
One more thing to add. Sorry, just
yeah. Please go ahead, Prabhuji. Please.
Lavanya shared one point. Correct. I forgot actually. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, right? You know, Sashi Surya Netram. Right? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sashi Surya Netram. Those two eyes, sun and moon, are my eyes. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Just to add that, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you. So if there are questions, we can take that, and any comments. And if I've said something which has hurt you, or I'm sure there are many mistakes, so please forgive me for them. And if there are questions, we'll take them. So just one thing which I wanted to add was like, see, we need to understand, right? Bharat Maharaj, such an elevated soul, and he could fall down. So we can understand our situation, right? We are nowhere, no one, nothing, right? So for us, the only hope is like we continue in association. So please make sure that you don't leave the association at any point of time. No matter what happens, don't leave the association. Association of the devotees is the only thing which will help us to continue on this path, and that is what can protect us from this Kali Yuga and the lot of distractions which we have in the Kali Yuga, right? So Bharat Maharaj was alone, though he was a pure devotee. But for us, the good thing is Prabhupada has given us this society, ISKCON society, and where we can have wonderful devotee association. And I think that is the only strength and hope which we have. And so please continue to make sure that we don't lose that association, no matter what happens. And with this association, I think by helping each other, we can continue on this journey of Krishna consciousness. And we are all sadhakas, right? We are in our own ways doing the struggle, but by helping each other, I think we can overcome these difficulties and problems, and with the mercy of the Supreme Lord, I think everything is possible. So we are just waiting for that mercy, and we just continue our whatever little we can do. We should just continue in the association of the devotees. So please, only request is don't leave the satsang, and always remain in the satsang. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandvat Pranam.
Aditana Maha.
पंचकल्पतरुभ्यो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरि बोल
His Grace Shreegopal Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी प्लीज डोंट से हरि बोल
And we have to glorify devotees, Prabhu. Otherwise, Krishna won't please. Very well. Thank you very much.
Prabhuji,
Thank you,
Dhanwad Pranam for a wonderful session.
थैंक यू माता जी
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, all goes to Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji, for your
धन्यवाद
class.
प्रणाम माता जी थैंक यू प्रभु जी
Sorry I came late, Prabhuji. I was not feeling well in the morning. Please forgive me.
no प्रभु जी आई मीन आई प्लीज टेक केयर ऑफ योर हेल्थ प्रभु जी प्लीज
No, I'm good. I just slept very late. That's the problem. Hare Krishna.
ओके प्रभु जी
Dandavat.
हरे
Sorry,
कृष्णा प्रभु
Prabhu.
जी
Hare Krishna.
धन्यवाद प्रणाम
Dandavat
प्रभु
Pranam.
जी हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for a wonderful class.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी धन्यवाद प्रणाम
I am ending the session here. Thank you.